William, the story, it's not just one cared and the other didn't. It's people-to-people friendship and care and concern between the Chinese and American people. It's peace, friendship, love, understanding, and respect.
My grandfather wrote a book, General Chenault wrote a book in 1949. The last sentence of that book says, "It is my fondest hope that the sign of the flying tiger will remain aloft just as long as it is needed on both shores of the Pacific to show two great peoples working toward a common goal in war and peace."
I'm very happy and proud to say that this is my 51st year with the orchestra, and one of the greatest things in my life has been the association with China. Literally my first start with the Philadelphia Orchestra was a trip to China in 1973, and it's become one of the most important threads throughout my whole life.
Welcome to the Friendship House here in Muscatine, Iowa. Let's go inside and have a look at the house where President Xi stayed in 1985. So as you can see, this was just a typical middle-class house in America in the 1980s. Not so fancy, but a nice home. And President Xi came here and stayed for 3 nights. And then we have some of the pictures here that document his visit to Muscatine back in the 1985 visit. He visited farms, grain elevators to learn about agriculture in America. And this was the Dvorak family that hosted him here in Muscatine.
This whole story has inspired people in China and in America, but especially people in China, to come to America and learn what was it that Xi Jinping experienced. It was so great. For the last 10 years, other than when COVID hit, it kind of was very quiet during the pandemic. But before that, groups of Chinese were coming over to America all the time, and then many wanted to come to Iowa, and it goes in the other direction. So constantly, Americans coming to China, learning about China, meeting other people. The house as a destination is really a great inspiration to promote people meeting each other.
I was very fortunate in the late 80s to be in the best period in our relationship. I'm a strong believer in increasing people-to-people, cultural, tourist, student, academic exchanges as much as we can. Greater people-to-people exchange and understanding is not going to solve all our problems. But what it does is inject some stability in the relationship. The more people on each side that can at least appreciate the other side's perspectives, the more that'll be a buffer against the relationship really going sour.
Over the last 30 years, the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance has partnered with our collaborators in China to help save the giant panda. And this has been an incredibly fruitful partnership. We contributed, along with our partners, to field work, which enabled us to better understand panda habitat needs. And through all of this, we developed a very strong friendship and collaborations, again, that lasted decades.
Tea, to me, was not just a beverage. The beauty of it is that tea is also a culture. It represents so much about China, but it also represents a lot about health and well-being. And there's something very disarming about tea. I have found that when I've been at meetings in China, very often the first thing that happens before we discuss anything is somebody serves tea. And again, that's a way of reducing distance.
People do sports and activities here and in China that are connected to a longer history, or connected to an art, or connected to a group of people that they admire or love. And I think that ties us together. And Wushu is just a fantastic version of that. It's a fantastic sort of way to connect with people and to challenge yourself and to live a healthy, rich life, even in the modern world.
For me, it was always interesting meeting the other people who were non-Chinese ethnically and hearing their stories about how they got into Chinese martial arts. What has really shocked me was the Western audience that I'm gaining. The audience I'm gaining in the West that have no knowledge of China. They've never been to China. They don't speak Chinese language, and they know nothing almost of Chinese culture. And a lot of the reviews I'm seeing are people saying like, I'm accidentally teaching them about Chinese culture and like they're learning about Chinese martial arts.
Ever since I started learning Chinese, it's really found its way into a lot of aspects of my life and really changed my life forever. I know a lot of people, including me, I remember when I started learning Chinese, it was really difficult for me to even hold a conversation with someone else. And having gotten to this point now, it's really meaningful to me because it shows that there's a way past this point. Even though it's really difficult, there is a way for a foreigner to learn Chinese. And it reminds me, there's a saying in Chinese, it's 世上无难事，只怕有心人。
我从一个不会说中文的美国小女孩，成为一个中美文化的沟通者、传播者以及未来的桥梁，真的带给我深远的影响和鼓励。我希望学习中文的这份快乐能够影响我周围的人，我所在的社区。我还希望站在汉尼桥这国际大舞台，通过我的演讲，我能感染更多人爱上中文和中国文化。
I think music is one of the strongest ways to communicate and to bring people together. Music is really a universal language. I think it has the power to also to bring our governments closer together, which is very important. And we travel all over the world, but there is no other country whatsoever that we have developed the close relationship that we have with China.
It's a lot to ask to bring an entire country of people together with another country of people, especially, if they don't understand each other. But I think what film and TV and just filmmaking can do is offer a new perspective. Everyone has the same emotions. Everyone, at the end of the day, we can all come together despite political issues. Besides anything like that, we just, that's the stories that hopefully bring people together.
Our story dates back to the historic moment when President Xi Jinping visited Lincoln High School. It was here that the seeds of friendships were sown, gifts were exchanged, and the vision for robust cultural exchange between the two nations was born.
We got to go to Chengdu in the Sichuan province, and then we also got to visit Beijing in the end. And it was just a really amazing trip where we got to meet so many different people, see so many different beautiful sights.
I was working with environmental organizations for 15 years in Beijing. Living in China is exciting. Things change all the time. You're in the middle of witnessing China go through tremendous and exciting and important changes. From day-to-day life living in Beijing, that's the clearest thing you can see is the air pollution, and it improved drastically. You really got a sense of the amount that people cared about these issues. People were willing to donate their time, donate their resources.
The US and China, they do have many similar things, and they also have their differences, but I feel like if they come together and they put their differences aside and focus on the good things that both countries have, it's going to benefit greatly the world.
I think that currently the new generation is actually proving a lot. When we connect people around the world and we know about a little bit about this culture and a little bit about other cultures, and that is the thing that I think in the future everyone will be connected, we will be the bond, and also this is a very good development for the young generation.
I think they can really make a big change in climate change because they're both such powerful countries that they can collaborate together and make a big change because they can both help to influence the countries.
The Flying Tigers, bless their hearts, did a great job for mending a relationship between the Chinese and the American people. Now it's up to the new generations to do so.
I will remain dedicated to professing Chinese martial arts and that way of life, but not only that, also Chinese philosophy, traditional Chinese thought. I think there's a lot that the world can learn from it.
Going back in the let's say in the 1980s, there were only 12 protected areas. But the government was rapidly adding new spaces to be protected for giant pandas. Everyone is very inspired, very passionate about giant pandas. And so that gives us a common bond. There's just such potential. We've already done so much, but there's still so much more potential.
I feel very strongly, I mean, China is a great country, the United States is a great country. I think it's very, very important that we become not just friends, but great friends.
I really hope that not just people to people have good relationships, but then the governments as well. Will be great.
So I want to commend China Album. It's always important to promote these exchanges, but more than ever, China Album and programs like that are needed now to increase understanding and relationships between our two peoples.